Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including four-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a four-time champion of the NASCAR Pekin Freeze iRacing Series.
Three-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a three-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare two laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Welcome, friends. Welcome once again to the SRF Weekend Warriors powered by RaceVoice, live right here on Apex Racing TV. I'm your host and the series' biggest fan, Jim Hodson, joined today on commentary by the Tisha of the track, Mr. Jack Kanan. And in the commentary box, it is the Beast of the Northeast, Jonathan Grabowski, a.k.a. Johnny Grabs. Today, guys, we are kicking around at Watkins Glen in the classic boot layout. No chicane, I'm sad to say, but we're going to have a great day of racing anyway. Jack, it is a pleasure to be with you once again. What can we expect from these madmen and women on track today?
Oh, classic SRF action. I think the lack of the chicane. I mean, I love the chicane. I think it's a brilliant addition to the circuit, but because now we've just got a longer straight with more slipstream, so I don't think we can really complain about that. So expect plenty of bump drafting, side-by-side, three-wide action down into the towards the boot section as well. I think just every single week we get plenty of side-by-side action across the SRF series, but don't think lack of chicane is going to be a massive problem. I actually think it's going to make it even better in some way.
Well, you do make a fine point. If you're going to have this car on this track, which we certainly are today, perhaps maybe the best car to not have the chicane, you know, in the higher horsepower cars, the chicane makes a little bit more sense because you don't enter the carousel at 1,000 miles an hour, but that won't be a problem with the SRFs, will it?
No, they just don't have the power. So that you give them a little bit more of a straight, then you're going to get some even more crazy action for these. And they've got drivers just in practice at the moment, and as per not usual, they're just practicing running in the draft of each other. This is really important. And of course, with the new gen, of course, this is the new car that was updated at the beginning of the season. The slipstream is even more effective. They have slightly more power, and you can kind of get an idea here of our little onboard here is to come down straight. That's going to be what it's going to be like in the race. Imagine that now. We've got 50 cars on the grid, so I think lap one's going to be a little bit insane.
Yes, well, it often is. You know, that's just one of the many things that we love about this series as we're looking at these guys dueling on track here. I think Haraski's probably got the best setup at the moment with the inside, but, well, never mind. There's no need to do commentary on the warm-up laps, is there? We'll get to the racing soon enough. The practice is winding down now. Just about 8 minutes left to go as these drivers get warm. Of course, they've already been practicing and qualifying, so they should be plenty warm, but... you know, once you get hooked on driving this SRF, there's just, you just can't stop yourself, you know.
No, it's like an addiction, the Spec Racer Ford, and that's why all these guys keep coming back. As well, of course, you'll notice on the left-hand side of the timing tower, we've now implemented these different colors to signify different class. I know it's been pretty hard to keep up with who's in what class, but you'll be seeing now on the left-hand side the red color denoting the Spec 1 drivers, the green being Spec 2, and the yellow being the Masters. That's make life easier for us especially, and for the viewers as well, because there's just so many different classes that are on the track at once. It's just nice to see it a little bit more diverse, and you'll get an idea of you'll get used to seeing different cars in different classes. For example, you can see Bob Kern, the fastest Masters class driver at the moment. So red for Pro, green for Spec 2, and yellow for the Masters.
Yes, and not too hard to remember if you think about it in this way. Red, very, very fast. As you can see, they're Nom, Mobrot, and Naselli. Some of our faster drivers, so they're all the Spec 1 guys with the red numbers. And then the green, just sort of good to go. As you can see there, Malone, Smith, Castro, those guys are good to go. Those are the Spec 2s. And then that sort of, that inoffensive yellow color, that is the older racers, and that is the same color as the applesauce that they will be fed a little bit later before nap time.
Right, so somebody write that one down. For the Masters category. I'm sure they'll take that one well. But 20 seconds left in the practice session. Aero Nom, of course, the fastest at the moment. 2:02.7 is the benchmark time in practice. Pete Moberton and Maurizio Naselli up at the top, but still we can expect, of course, we have to see what the grid is going to be, but it is going to be pretty close up the front, as it is every single week, and a big grid as well to add to the fun tonight as well, with over 50 cars on the grid. And looking forward to seeing how this is going to go. Checkered flag is out on practice. 40-minute race coming up, and grid is going to be on your screens in just a moment.
Yes, indeed, and do forgive us. You might see a couple of numbers that are gray there. It's just a matter of technology. We'll get it all sorted out. Again, as Jack says, this is new to us, but you can see topping the timing tower, a man who is by no means new to us. It is Aero Nom in P1, joined by Maurizio Naselli in P2. Great to see Naselli get himself up there into the second spot. And of course, it is Dobek. Now, you know I'm a fan of his just because of the way that we've seen him rise through the grid over the course of the last couple of seasons. Great to see Dobek there in third. He's joined by John Payne. Not sure how much we've seen Payne. Of course, I've been absent last week. Not sure if he was with us then before, but he's relatively new to the series. Great to see him out there. Foreign's Arabian. Certainly seen plenty of him in P5, joined by Hugh Haycox there. That is Haycox the younger. Not sure if his dad is racing or not today, but we will find out soon enough. And leading the Masters, it is Antonio Race, one of the nicest guys out there on the grid. Everybody, of course, is great folks. And he will have David Bohm for company in P8. Great racer is Bohm. Just behind them, it'll be Simon Mayer, and followed by Yangshi Lin there. Great to have Yangshi back still. Dudu Castro and Chris Murakami. Murakami will be second in Masters on the grid. Then they're joined just quickly behind by John Vogel and Pete Mobroden. It's a little bit weird to see Mobroden down in 14th, but he'll make up some places, I'm sure. Stephen Elson, a favorite in the series, as is Jeff Fritcher in 16th. And they're followed by Flavio Andalo and Ian Haycox. That is Haycox the Elder. As you can see, he's changed his title there. That always tickles me. And just behind them, it's Felipe Santos, Bobby West, Marco Pinero. I don't think we've seen Marco Pinero too much so far. Great to have you with the series, sir. And he is joined by Bob Kern, whom we know very well, as do we know Jim McGill. And then next to McGill will be Edgar Sancinelli. Just behind Edgar Sancinelli, it's Ian Gibson, Miro Hraski, Tom Gradwell, Adam Bradshaw, Jeff Jacobson, Stevie Ray, series organizer Stevie Ray. Thank you so much for all your hard work, Stevie Ray. Mark Ehan, Ed Doherty, Yost Simpkins, Ken Batley, Ian Malone, sir, and Jamie McGinnis in the number 241 machine. Just following McGinnis, it is Paul Jackson and Rolly Wallbank. And following Wallbank, it is Charlie Rogers, Kerry Walbolt, Michael Nelson, Alex Roggenbuck, Jonathan Mino, Christopher Smith, Andres Bertoni, Justin Huffman, and number one in our hearts, last on the grid, but number one in our hearts, it is Mike Lucas, racing out of the beautiful state of Ohio. Now we should be heading just down into the boot, and of course, if you're wondering, if you're looking at the timing tower and seeing somebody with a gray name, you can always fall back on the car number, or usually fall back on the car number, to tell you what class they are in. Numbers below 200 will be the Spec 1 class. Numbers above 200 will be Spec 2 class, and numbers above 900 should be the Masters. Of course, that sometimes also gets a little bit messed up. Look, Jack, we're here to have a good time today. We're not here to be nerds about these numbers and things.
No, really, we're not numbers people. That we try our best, but I think the easiest way to put it, if you see a car that has that has a number lower than 200, it's in Spec 1. If it's above 200, it's probably Spec 2. If it's above 900, it's probably Masters. So if we say probably, we're covered in that regard.
Oh, yeah.
But we're about to come through just out of the heel now, up this blind crest corner right here. It's a really tricky corner, this one. It's the car's unloaded on the way in, very easy to lock up the brakes on the way in, but it's all aeronom at the head of the field as per usual, and he will control the pace into turn 1. There's a lot of runoff in turn 1 as well. You can expect it to go right out onto the concrete on the outside, but here they come snaking towards the last corner. Safety car will peel off to the right hand side in just a moment. Aeronom will get us underway for this race at Watkins Glen. You'll see it peel off to the right just now, and Aeronom will control the pace up towards turn number 1, and we are green at Watkins Glen for round 9 of the SRF Weekend Warriors. Aeronom immediately gets in front of Naselli as they head down towards turn number 1, and he is clear as they enter the first corner then. Good start from him. Clean start from Naselli as well as they come through the first corner as well. All nice and neat and tidy. A couple of cars running right out to the concrete on the left-hand side right there. And it's getting stacked up in the back right there. And I spoke too soon. There's a huge pile-up out of the first corner. Multiple cars involved right there. You can see the car of Ian Malone sat in the middle. Jim McGill's car is one of the ones sat in the middle of the road here. And, well, it was going to happen with a grid that size. The leaders got away cleanly, as now look at this, they go 2 by 2 down the straight. This is the beauty of not having the chicane. Naselli and Payne slot to 1 and 2, and Nom shuffles back to 3rd.
Haycock's in 4th as well. I do believe, Jack, back there, I thought I saw Fritcher go off the track. He was one of those cars that was off the track. I think he has managed to keep himself out of the fray. It looks like Murakami's car. I just saw Hraski in the rear there. The lead has very much changed, as you say. Naselli and Payne ahead of Nom. Of course, we will have many lead changes over the course of this race. And of course, don't forget, we will have the pit strategy to calculate as well, heading through the toe here at Watkins Glen. But yeah, we're going to have a race full of excitement. I bet Johnny Graffs is probably trying to figure out if we can see a replay of that stack up. And here it comes. It's as if I know you, Johnny Graffs. Okay, so I believe we are looking at Hraski, and that is Gibson's car down there. So we'll have to wait and see. And these cars are just stacked up waiting to start, I believe. So this is probably before the actual start of the race, unless I'm very much mistaken. So I believe that's Sancinelli's yellow car there. The 257 machine, very possibly. I think that's Gibson, Hraski, and no. Okay, we're going to try again on the replays, guys. This is not by no means an exact science. It does take a little bit of fiddling. There is Stevie Ray's car, and I believe there's Doherty there as well. Stand by, gang. We're going to give it one more shot. Let's see. Okay, that's Stevie Ray there going to the outside. So here we go through turn one. Looked like Stevie Ray got a little bump in the rear, and that car went off the track, but that is okay. Oh, Batley just got hit. The car re-entered and drove straight across the front of Batley's car. There's West's car. His car looks very wadded up. That's West in that sort of teal, green, and white machine that's moving around there. So hard to say what happened, but most likely somebody, it looked like some folks rejoined and caused a bit of an incident. But here we go back to our leaders. This is live. We've just started lap number 2. Haycock's challenging Naselli for the lead, and Naselli kind of covering him off a little bit. Haycock's looking very racy out there, Jack.
Yeah, he shuffled up to second. Of course, Payne was up in second as we left the action, but he's obviously been shuffled back to fourth. Aeronom slots to third. So, of course, Spec 1 being led by Maurizio Naselli. Masters still being led by Antonio Reis in P8, and Simon Meyer leads Spec 2 as they run together. So there's your leader in the Masters. Just behind him is our Spec 2 leader, Simon Meyer, in P9, and Duda Castro is the man in P2 in Spec 2 as well. So a good start and clean start from all those guys. They're running up with the front runners here as, of course, 40-minute race, mandatory pit stops, and they've got a mandatory pit stop, just a single one. Pit strategy very important in this series as they file through up towards the last corner right now. Big long train of cars. Aeronom getting a little bit racy up behind Hugh Haycox right now, and a small gap being built by Naselli, about half a second, but even so, that is quite a large gap as Haycox grazes the wall through the last corner, and that opens the door for Aeronom to slot back past again. Payne's going to try and follow through as well, as is Foreign Arabian. Here comes Foreign Arabian on the inside. He slots up into P4, and that just shows you one single tiny mistake, and it's down a position for Haycox, but that was dangerously close to being a race-ending accident for multiple people, not just him.
Yeah, absolutely. Do not count out anybody in this lead train. And of course, you're seeing the wonder that is Spec Race Ford Racing. Our lead train is usually up to a dozen cars long. Today, I think you could call it going all the way back to Meyer's car. He's racing in 9th overall, or Mayer. And Yangshi Lin is going to try to catch him up as well. There's Yangshi there in the rear. You can see him racing with Fritcher and those other guys. Elson and Lin. There's Yangshi's car, that blue and white car. Elson in that sort of tribute. It looks like a bit of a Lotus tribute, maybe. Livery there. Yangshi on the outside, following just behind Fritcher's car. Careful over those bouncy curbs there. You can very easily get bumped into somebody else's car, and that's Castro just ahead of him there between himself and Fritcher. This little pack led by Mo Broughton, looking to catch up to the other group, the lead group. But yeah, we'll see lots of place changes over the course of the race. So great to be back here, and great, honestly, to see Naselli challenging for the lead. He's one of the fastest drivers in the series, currently running in 3rd overall. And look at Arabian's made his way up to P2. But we haven't seen that much of Naselli. It felt for a season or two, Jack, like he might have just been maybe a little bit distracted, or I mean, life gets in the way for all of us, so hard to say, but there he is back at the sharp part of the field and challenging for the lead.
Yeah, I think Naselli was a little bit unlucky in some races as well. He's challenged for that lead as Haycox looking at using all the curve. Arabia being a lot more conservative. So Hugh Haycox on the absolute limit here as they come around the last corner. Naselli has to, you can hear him lifting out of the throttle through that corner as well. They're all kind of seem to be struggling, maybe on high fuel, trying to get the car turned in for that last corner. And but it is Hugh Haycox who leads the race. Foreign Arabian P2 with the fastest lap of the race, which is immediately taken off him by Moberton, who's running at the front of the train that are chasing after these guys. That's good for them. They may be able to latch onto this, but possible another lead change coming up in just a few seconds time as well. There is Moberton who's catching up to them as well. We can see them now. Arabian all over the rear of our leader, Hugh Haycox, and Naselli's dragging his way up now. They're going to go 2 by 2 again. The lines begin to form. Where does Dobek decide to go? He can't decide whether to go outside, inside. It's going to nearly go 3 wide. Naselli up the middle. It is 3 wide down the straight. Naselli in the middle, getting pushed by Michael Dobek. It is still 3 wide. Aeronom's on the inside as they come through the left-hander. Up the inside goes Payne as we're on board with Hugh Haycox, and all of a sudden he was in the lead when they got to the straight. He's been shuffled back to 5th on the straight alone. So the Selly to the lead. Aero Nom side by side with Dobek through the left-hander. And Nom's still on the outside, feathering the break when the Selly manages to get it done. But Michael Dobek, the big remover there, moves his way up to P3. Side by side with Payne now. Gets back up his inside as they head into the toe. Round the outside, Dobek trying to get it done as they come round the right-hander. He's still just about a nose in front as they come out there, and Payne slots back into the train. But the Selly, Nom and Dobek is the new top 3, and Haycock shuffle back 5 places.
Wow. So what we know, Jack, we've seen this many times before, but viewer, keep this in mind. You do not want to be leading the race on the final lap, because what we just saw happen to Naselli and the other leaders will happen to you for sure. Here is that secondary train. Now, I say secondary train, but you can see some of the people who are ranking highly in the other classes. We were starting there with Castro in the lead of this train, followed by Yang Shilin. Castro racing second in Spec 2, second to Meyer, who is on the lead train there. But Castro in P2 of Spec 2. The rest of these guys, Spec 1 drivers, on down to Murakami, 901 racing, and Kern racing second and third in Masters overall. Just at the rear of your screen there, you can see all the way back to Frasky, whom we'll see shortly. That is Mino, for some reason, deciding, I guess he's trying to break the toe back there to Gradwell's car. Not sure what Mino was doing. Batley's car looking very beat up. Batley, of course, we saw him we saw the front of his car get completely driven over on that first lap. No fault of Batley's there. These things do happen, though.
Yep, they do indeed. They happen across the time. Here's back to the lead battle again. Aero Nom decides he wants to go for the lead this time. Haycock's shuffled out to the outside line through this section. Aero Nom just about in front. He has to leave room, though. Haycock is still up his inside as they head through the left-hander. Dobek's still there on the outside as well. And Aero Nom does get to the lead this time on this lap. So Haycock's Dobek, Payne, Naselli, Arabian. David Boehm is in there. He's been kind of quiet, is David Boehm. He's at the back of this train here. Antonio Race just behind him. And it's getting... Oh, Nom's going to lose it! He's lost it! Aero Nom collects a number of cars. Huge crash with the leaders. And that is Payne flipping wildly in the background. Nom makes a mistake, gets on the grass, lights up the rears, and collects multiple cars in this race. He's still side by side with Naselli, but Michael Dobek leads. Florence Arabian in second. Antonio Race up to third. A rare mistake from Aero Nom, the championship leader, and he's taken out a couple of cars in doing that.
Oh, no. Well, now, keep in mind that these cars do get a fast repair, and given that we're 10 minutes into a 40-minute race, it is conceivable that one could dip into the pits, take advantage of that fast repair, and continue to the end of the race. I wonder if he got a little push there. Hard to say. The replay just cut in just before everything went sort of pear-shaped, especially for the number 22 car of Payne, unless I'm mistaken. Oh.
Yeah, it just, from the view that we got, I think he just got on the grass. He went wide by himself, got on the grass on the way out of the toe, and once you do that, you are a passenger through that. And you can see now he's got no straight line speed. Moberton's going to eat him up here down the straight, and in fact, he's still carrying on. He's not bothering to take the fast repair now. He's just going to push on to the pit stop and get it from there. Florence Arabian to the lead now. At the head of the fields as they file down the pit at the back straight here. So it's Florence Arabian leader, Michael Dobek, David Boehm, Antonio Race at the front of the field now. So big opportunity for David Boehm, of course, to get some points back on Aero Nom with that damage. Aero, of course, will push on. I'm sure he'll be back later on in the race. Still plenty of time left, but did not expect a mistake like that. Let's get another look at this. Payne just had nowhere to go right there. You could see that we're just getting the end of his spin, but for definite, he got on the grass on the way out, and it was just absolutely nothing he could do. He tried his best to save it, and unfortunately, Payne just was out of luck trying to get through there. Aero Nom still pushing on here. I mean, he's obviously still quicker through the corners, but he's got no straight line speed. He's getting shuffled back here. He's dropping into the clutches now of Duda Castro. This big long train of Fritzer, Vogel, Lynn, and multiple others. So it's just going to be a case now just trying to push on and get yourself to the pit stop. He doesn't want to have to do 2 pit stops, which would cost him even more time. So I understand his logic here.
Yeah, so do I. We see in the background there, Kern is battling it out. That's Kern battling it out, I think, with Pinero just behind Kern, the 916 machine. Lots of battles going on all over the track, some of them more sedate than others. But you know, Jack, it's like, it's almost easy to dismiss the SRF because it's not a high horsepower car. It's not the fastest car on the service. And if you come and race this track in, you know, the Radical or CTSV or something like that, you get into the SRF, no chicane, and you say to yourself, you know, this is kind of easy. But even somebody who's driven and won so many times, a guy like Aeronum, if you lose concentration for even a split second, you know, you're going around and your race is over. So it can very easily bite you, even though it's not, you know, festooned with all manner of wings and loaded down with horsepower.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as you can see, the bump drafting beginning to start now. Dudu Castro being pushed along by the 43 of Jeff Fritcher. Now it's going to go 3 wide down the straight. You can see the bump draft and how it affects it. Fritcher's just going to pick his line on the way into the right-hander now, getting really close for comfort around the right-hander. This is a great view. This is exactly what the drivers are seeing, by the way. They can barely see in front of you with this many cars, but Fritcher just up behind Fogel at the moment. That is at Watkins Glen, just in front of him now as they get on the power. He's alongside Fogel now as they come up to the right-hander. As they now try to get on the brakes this next corner, still side by side. Good defense from Fogel there. But yeah, really good stuff from all these guys. But that's a perfect example of what you can see, which is basically not a whole lot. By the way, now overall leader is Antonio Reyes at the head of the field. So he's leading the whole race. Well done, Antonio.
Yeah, get him, Antonio. Great guy to talk to during some of these races, Antonio Reyes. Really nice guy to have on chat. Speaking of social interactions, everyone, let me remind you to subscribe to Apex Racing TV on YouTube for tons more sim racing action, and hit that bell icon to be notified when we go live. You can also find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/ApexRacingTV, and of course, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All those usernames are just Apex Racing TV. We do this all the time. It's always a ball, and we'd love to see you. And there is your race leader, Antonio Reyes, followed quickly by Dobek, Bohm, and Arabian. So a couple of curveballs so far in the race, and one giant curveball yet to come, that being the pit strategy. Some of us, I think, will be hoping it can be sort of a savior for us. That's probably what Nam is hoping. Let's see if we've had anybody stop in so far. Mo Broden and Hrasky both into the pits now, as is Jeff Jacobson. But so they're all sort of down in the mid-pack now. As a result, there is Hrasky's car, number 64 machine. And we are now 3 wide on the straight. Ray slots in behind Bohm. Bohm is going to do his level best to get that lead away from Dobek. And there he goes, race down into P3 out of the lead, just as a result of the drafting down that straight with no chicane. What a race we have on our hands so far. And I just quickly want to say thank you so much to RaceVoice for putting this on for us. They are proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the Weekend Warrior Spec Racer Ford Racing Series. Take your driving to the next level with on-track audible performance alerts with RaceVoice and RaceVoiceSIM. You can hear miles per hour, turn entry and exit speeds, upshift alerts, and other performance metrics which are selected and configured by you. Go faster with the speed of voice. Plus, Weekend Warriors get 50% off annual sim pricing using the promo code WW50. Check them out at www.racevoice.com. And Johnny Grabs has wisely switched us to Steve Ray's car here, who is running the RaceVoice livery. I tell you what, does this guy know how to produce a broadcast or what?
You'd almost swear he does it for a living here. Yeah, Stevie Ray, of course, worked so hard to put the series on as well, and adorned in the sponsor's livery as well. So thanks for all your hard work, Stevie, as always. As we cut back to the almost the mid-pack, is the tail end of the top 10. Chris Murakami here running second in the Masters. He's got Dudu Castro in Spec 2 in front of him. He's got Fogel up behind him, who's in Spec 1. So he doesn't really need to worry about losing positions. It's just really in the overall sense. But we hear from a lot of the drivers really that they don't really know who's in what class once you're out there. So you're just fighting for every position you can, which is the beauty of it. Here's Mo Breton as he goes through in the shot here. The car behind him is a lap down, I believe, as they come across the start-finish line. Aeronom is behind him, so you can see Aeronom has pitted, taken the fast repair, but he has come out behind Pete Robertson, so he's lost himself a lot of time here as Aeronom. So he's on the fight back now, so expect this to be an exciting climax.
Yep, and sad to say that Naselli has also been into the pit, so he must have been caught up in some of that banging around and taken some damage to his car. I doubt he would otherwise have been into the pits this early in the race. But there is Stevie Ray and Fritcher battling it out, and now Yangshi and I think that Yangshi Lin and that's Vogel just getting by with Murakami hanging on to this tail, and there is Kern and Pinero still battling it out behind. We've got lots of great battles on track. We just saw that one between these guys, Elson, Mobroten, Simpkins, Huffman, all battling it out there. That's the Murakami train. There is another train on track that goes all the way back to the 223 machine of Huffman, as I mentioned. Huffman just hanging on to the end there and straggling just a little way behind Huffman. It is none other than Aero Nam. And he will shortly probably be able to make his way through the grid. Biggest gainer so far, Jack, is going to be Andres Bertoni with 32 positions gained. 32 positions gained over the course of the race so far.
He does this every single week, Andres Bertoni. He just does, and you know, it's almost as if he just enjoys just carving his way through the field, seeing how far he can get up. And Bertoni is always very impressive how he's able to do it. I believe he started in well, basically on the last row of the grid. That's quite close to the barrier as we went on board with him there, Andres Bertoni. But as always, the highest climber. I think he's trying to get it every single week, really, just to get pump up the numbers a little bit on that car. But nonetheless, still doing a great job pushing on. And let's see if he can maybe gain a few more positions. We're approaching the halfway point of the race. Still a battle up the front. It's Michael Dobek now shuffled up to the lead. Antonio Reyes goes in behind him. David Bum and Florence Arabian just swapping places there. And now Michael Dobek leads the race here in Watkins Glen. Car adorned in the Bayern flag. You can see the blue and the white checkered on that. That represents the German province of Bayern down in the southeast. And Antonio Reyes just up behind him in the Masters category, of course. So he's obviously very comfortable where he is. He's going to win his class if he stays where he is, of course. But I think he'd like to take an overall win as well, which would be really something. David Bum, of course, multiple race winner in the series, as is Florence Arabian. But it would be nice to see Michael Dobek finally get something.
Yeah. I'm sort of an unabashed fan of Dobek's driving, so I feel a little bit, I feel a little bit self-conscious of being just constantly cheering when Dobek gets things right. Of course, I do like all these guys. They're great to hang around, and everybody in this league is so helpful. I'm thinking particularly of a guy like Florence Arabian there in the purple car, the purple protest car. They share setups with one another, tips, driving, and everything like that. So they're all on a chat together, having a laugh and possibly saying some bad words. That's what I usually do when I'm on those chats. But we're riding along with Antonio Reyes here, looking at the rear of Dobek's car. I think Reyes is most likely going to get this lead back. Oh, a little bump and run there down the front straight. Reyes may be trying to get some distance on some of those drivers who've had to dip into the pits. Interesting strategy. As long as the driver ahead knows it's coming, you can maybe make a little bit of headway that way. But I've also taken a few little bumps to the rear as I was braking for a turn, and it has not ended well.
No, big crash. That's Fritcher Murakami. Multiple cars there. I think Wanshi Lin was involved, but he's managed to carry on. But that's a big crash at the top of on the way out at turn 1, I think that is. We're going to ride on board with Jeff Fritcher. He comes through turn 1. All looking good so far. Gets on his way out. Tries to get past Dudu Castro. I think I know what's going to happen here. Oh, that looks like netcode to me. That looks like netcode to me, Jim, unfortunately. And, big collection. Fogel just arrives. And a huge Murakami arrives in it as well. Really unfortunate there. That was definitely not intentional. Certainly from where we're looking at it, definitely looks like a netcode incident. But it's taken multiple cars out. And That's, of course, promoted Andala now up to second in Spec 2 as a result of that incident. Promotes Bertoni up to the top 10. So he carries on his meteoric rise through the field. This is, of course, Andala we're looking at right now. It's getting a little bit feisty here. Bob Curran and Panero fighting up front, of course, now. Andala looking to try and get through. Wan Chi Lim with some damage on the car now, trying to recover. Very lucky to get through that in that instant there. But it's the 216 of Panero in front, and of course he's also in Spec 2, so he's lying second in that class right now, Panero, with the 216. Simon Meyer leading that class by a decent margin, as he's got a good gap. He's on his own, really, Simon Meyer. He's 4 seconds up to Dobek, and he's got nearly 10 seconds back to his nearest rival right now. There he is on his own in the 308. The car behind him is a lap down, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But a good drive from Simon so far, and he just needs to keep going the way he's going, and he'll be on for another victory in Spec 2. Wan Chi Ling going to take to the pit lane now with the rear end damage. You can see it on the back, and thankfully he's managed to get through that instant without terminal damage. As back to the front we go. Florence Arabian leads. It's getting pretty feisty now. It's Antonio Rice up behind him. Boom, going to try and make a second line work, but I think he's going to get left hung out to dry. No, Michael Dobek's going to join his German counterpart on the outside as they come down the straight. He's going to draft into the lead for now as they head down the straight. Dobek just tucking in behind David Bohm here as they head into the right-hander. Bohm's going to slot into the lead. Florence Arabian trying to get up underneath him, using the curbs, still there on the way through. Bohm leaves in the room. David Bohm back to the lead. Florence Arabian shuffled down to second place, and Race shuffled back to fourth in this train, but still remains in the lead of his class.
Well, Nam is in the lead of everybody who has pitted so far. As I say that, of course, Mo Broten takes that spot from him. If we were to look back at Mo Broten, I believe he is in the middle of a battle with Naselli and Nam just behind, and joined by Elson as well. There they are. That's Mo Broten leading Naselli. Mo Broten in the number 15 machine, with Naselli in that black and white car just behind, and Nam just behind him. They're followed, of course, by Elson in the number 56 car. And we just saw Simpkins there at the back of our screen. But anyway, these guys are the cars that have been into the pit, so they are completely done with their pit stop and ready to race for the rest of the race. Everybody from here up, your Munoz, Bertoni, Kern, Andalo, Panero, Meyer, Race, Dobek, Arabian, and Bohm. None of those guys have pitted. So there we're looking at a group led by Bobby West in the 89 machine, and that is Haycox, the younger. You may recall, here he is in the number 34 machine. You may recall that he was challenging very well for the lead of the race, and then got caught up in some of that mischief as Arabian and Dobek go ahead into the pits. They're the first of that group that I was just mentioning to blink and stop on into the pits. Jack, I've noticed that depending on how well a driver finishes at the end of the race, greatly colors their opinion of whether or not there should be a pit stop in the race.
I think that's I think it's the typical racing driver excuses that comes out right there, but I think that's the right call from Dobek and Arabian, because they saw that these guys were catching up. So Arabian gets out, they're on the way out of the pits right now. Watch for them on the right hand side of your picture here. There they are, and they have managed to do it. So that was the perfect call from Florence Arabian and Michael Dobek, and that was all because Mo Broten keeping Naselli and Nom at bay has now meant that Arabian and Dobek have come out in front of both of them now. So now they need to try and fight as little as possible here. Dobek going to push Florence Arabian down the straight, and in the background you can see Nom pushing Mo Broten down the straight as Naselli. Look at this. This is the rear view of Florence Arabian's car. You can see absolutely nothing apart from the front end of Michael Dobek's machine. And they come through the right-hander, no change there. Mo Broten still keeping Nom and Naselli at bay, but now I think David Bohm is going to have to pit on this lap. This is going to be super tight between Arabian and Dobek, and Bohm on the pit exit, of course, and Antonio Reyes.
Yeah, you know, one thing I've noticed, Jack, about Bohm is he does seem to like to stay out a little bit longer. I think he just prefers his sort of driving ability, versus his, getting fueled up ability. I mean, certainly a good driver. But he does seem to like to stay out a little bit. But you're right. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. And look at the closing speed here of Arabian closing in on Minyo's car. They're just every little turn they go through, they're picking up 100th here, a 10th there. And shortly, Arabian might find himself a little bit held up by Minyo. We'll see what Minyo does. But that might cause those drivers behind. There is Mo Broden, Nam, and Naselli's cars all right together. It might give them the chance to close it up to Dobek and Arabian here. There goes Mino to the side. So, oh, well, never mind. He's not. And there's Bohm. Jack, it's as if you've seen these races before.
I swear that car I don't think was mean. That was a 783 machine under blue flag, so I'd hope he'd move out of the way as they come down the straight now. So not ideal really for Florence Arabian and for Dobek. Bohm on his way out of the pit exit right now. This is going to be close as they come down towards the first corner. They're getting past the back marker here. There is David Bohm. This is going to be super tight. Bounces over the curbs. Now onto the power. Here we go. But Dobek and Florence Arabian go way too wide, and Bohm's out in front. But he doesn't have the draft of anybody in front or behind, and the guys behind, of course, will be working with each other, Arabian and Dobek, trying to get up to him. But brilliant job by David Bohm to jump them all with an overcut strategy to try and make that work. Now here comes the strategy now. Dobek is using Arabian. He's bump drafting him once again down the straight, and they will fly up to the rear of David Bohm. And Aero, Nom, and Naselli have finally cleared Pete Moberton behind. Once again, we're looking from the rear of Arabian's car into the braking zone, and nothing you see. But look, they've already caught up to David Bohm. Of course, a little bit of cold tires in effect as well, being sat in the pit box, and Arabian and Dobek have closed up to him once again. But the man who hasn't pitted yet is Antonio Reyes. So he's stayed out for a little bit longer, and he will slot probably in between that gap you see between Dobek and the Sellies. He's aiming to come out there, I reckon, is probably his aim at the minute, and he's going to surely be pitting very shortly. He's not going to come out in the lead, of course, but he's going to come out in between Dobek and Naselli is my prediction.
Well, we'll see how it comes out. Jack is pretty good at predicting these sorts of things. Race, I'm sure, will shortly dip into the pit, as you say. And I do apologize, viewers. That was the 783 car was Christopher Smith, not Mino. I incorrectly named him. Christopher Smith. Great racing out there, buddy. So it looks to me like we're going to have a lead group all back together again. I think likely to me that Naselli will be able to catch Dobek there. Nothing but just a hair's breadth between them now, and race into the pits. Antonio Reyes, as is Meyer. That's Meyer just behind, and Bertoni. Bertoni got himself up to 43 places gained over the course of the race. Some of that will come down a little bit as these cars come around and pass him while he's in the pits. Bertoni, a proud Doge livery supporter, as we see Nam looking at taking a place away from Naselli there, and indeed he does. And I wonder if their battling, Jack, has caused them to not yet catch up to Dobek. It looked to me like a foregone conclusion, and here comes Reyes, and he's going to battle with Mo Broden as they head up the hill here. I think that sort of bodes not well for either of them to be fighting like that on the back of this train. So Reyes slots in behind Mo Broden for the length of the back straight here, because I think if they were battling, it would have just caused them to fall off of this little train here. Mo Broden now challenging Nam. Nam getting shoved along by Naselli, but Mo Broden nevertheless has got his car just in front of Nam's, and a pretty racy swerve over there to the right-hand side of the track that caused our producer Johnny Grabs to go, oh.
Yeah, that was a pretty robust defense from Pete Moberton, but it worked nonetheless. Antonio Reyes just coming out on the back of the train here as they come down now, but you can see up the front as well, lead changes happening. Dobek versus Bohm up to the right-hander, and the more they battle, they are getting caught by everybody behind, which is making this really interesting. Now there's 10 minutes left to run in this race, so about 4 to 5 laps left to run here at Watkins Glen, and Florence Arabian now decides he wants to have a go. He's going to slot past the both of them here with the draft. Double overtake Florence Arabian to the inside, alongside David Bohm with the outside line up the hill now. Bohm should hang on to this, and Arabian will have to slot behind, but even that side by side now it becomes a 7 car fight for the win at Watkins Glen, with just about 9 minutes left to run in this race. So this is going to be a classic SRF finish.
Yeah, and I'm sure that we will see all manner of shenanigans over the course of this race. If you are, well, just don't go anywhere. There's going to be plenty of shenanigans, I assure you. Starting with the next time down the last straight, we might even see some cars step out and have a look at the inside here on turn 1. No, everybody stays in the snake. That is Bohm, Arabian, Dobek, Mo Broden. Looking forward here from Mobroton's car as we head up the hill once more. This should all be more or less flat out. I'm not sure why Mobroton got off the gas there. He did it again. I think he's just trying to stay out of trouble, trying to stay out of the rear of these other drivers' cars. Dobek once again gives Arabian the old push. Arabian swerving all over the place. Look at the car.
Oh my word, we're going to go 3 wide down the straight. Aeronom's thinking about making it 4, but Pete Mobroton is not one, doesn't want to hang around and slots to the lead from the rear. From P4 up to the lead, he decided he wanted to go for it. He has got a rocket ship of a car in a straight line as Pete Mobroton. Even with the draft, the other guys could not keep up with him, and now it's getting really hectic at the front. 2 by 2, 2 lines beginning to form. Mobroton on the inside, Arabian on the outside with Dobek behind him. Bump pushing Mobroton. Aeronom trying to decide where he wants to go here as they come into the braking zone, into the toe, and Arabian will slot back to lead, and Dobek tries to follow him through a little bit of a wiggle from Bum as he came through the right-hander, but Arabian, Mobroton, Forrest Arabian moves to the inside to give Dobek the toe, because I think they realise that Mobroton has a faster car in the straight line, and they want to work with each other to get up to him now. Naselli drops behind, Antonio raced behind as well. Round the right they go. Dobek still side by side with the 15 of Mobroton as they come up the hill, but still Arabian to the lead. Dobek into second, gets in front of Mobroton, but I think Mobroton's the danger man. That car is so fast in the straight line.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, guys, I know that you know this, most of you already, but I will go ahead and say it. This is an open setup series, so the setups can be very different. So you could have a setup that's a little bit faster in a straight line and choose that for a track like Watkins Glen. It would mean that you're fighting the car a little bit more in the turns, trying to get it around. But Mobroton doesn't seem to be having any problem with it, running as he is in 3rd place overall. And it is, as Jack says, he does seem to have that extra little bit of speed on the straights. Here we are on the straight, headed down into turn 1. He had a little look there at the inside of Dobek and possibly past Arabian as well. We'll see what he's able to make happen as we go up the hill and then over the back straight again. Now recall, last lap, Jack, we were riding on board with him at this point in the track, and I was saying, you know, I wonder why he's getting out of the gas here and there, and that might be just part of his strategy of getting the car turned.
Yeah, and this will be a perfect example of the sheer straight line speed. It's as if he's not even trying. So slots back to the lead again. Bum goes with him. This time Dobek using Arabian now, pushing him 3 wide. We go with Bum to the middle of the road this time. As they come down to the right-hander, he's going to try shut the door on Arabian. And Bum now slots to the lead from 3rd place. It seems to be 3rd place seems to be a good place to be, to drop back into. So Bum now clear of the rest now. Arabian to 2nd with Mobroton up his inside now. Dobek trying to find some room here to work with. Aeronom running in P5. What a recovery from Aeronom, by the way. Remember, he was in the wall on lap number 2, and he's fought his way back now to the fight for the win. Just behind Michael Dobek. Antonio races up behind Plan. Naselli is in P7 right now. There's just going to take to under 5 minutes to go, so we don't have long left in this race right now. Approximately 2 or 3 laps to go in this race, and still any one of these 7 drivers could potentially win this race. And this is brilliant stuff. This is what pit strategies do, guys. This is why we love them.
Great also to see Naselli caught himself up to the lead group. He's on the back of Race's car there. Yet another just slab of bad luck for Naselli, I'm sad to say. But great to see him in the race anyway. And we've got plenty of great racing to go. Bohm's got himself a little bit of a gap on Mobroton, who is kind of holding up Arabian and Dobek. We will go around once more, of course, and Dobek running in 4th might be able to catch himself up some places. Of course, it's just a great big shuffle every time we go over the top of the hill back there across that straight. The back straight going here through turn 1. Bohm turns it in. Arabian all over the rear of Mobroton's car. Everybody keeping it relatively conservative in terms of that runoff. I think you can pick up a 1X there if you're not too careful on that grassy spot, but of course you can certainly pick up a sliding car and a bad wreck if you're not careful when you go across that grass. Now here is Mobroton sliding himself out into the middle of the track with Arabian all over his rear deck lid. Dobek trying to decide whom he wants to pick, subjunctive case. And there he goes. I think Dobek is technically in the lead of this race right now as we go through that big turn at the end of the straight. Indeed, he is. Everybody's sliding out. A little bit of a wide line there for Forrest Arabian. And around we go once more.
And look at Aeronom out of nowhere, up to P3, side by side with Pete Mobroton. And he can't quite get alongside there, but you can see Michael Dobek decided not to get into a train with anybody, just decided to drive past everybody up the middle of the road there. So this is really, really interesting racing right now. Classic Spec Racer Ford racing here. Florence Arabian shuffled back to P5. In this train, Bohm shuffled back to 4th behind Aero Nom. He's side by side with Nom onto the brakes, and he gets back up to P3 now, and it slots back to the way it almost was as they come up the hill once again. It is going to be, I think, another 2 laps in this race that we should get under our belts. They've got the 413 car coming. That, I believe, is Ian Malone, who's going to be a lap down, and they probably will catch up to him very shortly. But Dobek breaking away now at Moberton just a small bit. That gap will come down again. It seems to be in that sector that the car out front has the advantage as they come across the start-finish line. It'll be 2 laps to go in this race at Watkins Glen. No white flag this time, so it'll be white flag next time. Personal best for Dobek on that lap. But I think this is clever from Dobek, because I think he knows you do not want to be in the lead in the last lap. So if he swaps now, he'll be in the train as they head on to the last lap next time. But I don't expect this to get a little bit crazy now. Ron Moberton just trying to line up the pass here. Where does he go? He's going to go to the outside this time. He's got Bum up behind him now. He's actually got nobody behind him. He's got sheer straight line speed. Here come the rest of the field now. 3 abreast down the straight. Nom's getting a little bit angsty there with a little contact with Florence Arabi down the straight at Bum. Flying down the straight with Aero Nom up behind him, and he'll slot to the lead. Nom will slop up to second place, and they work together beautifully. David Bum and Aero Nom using that to perfection, and Aero Nom going to go for the lead on the inside now. He can't get up alongside David Bum enough as they come through, but Aero Nom is on an absolute fabulous recovery drive here, and David Bum in the lead. But do you want to be there on the last lap?
No, you do not, as we very well know. Dobek's sitting pretty good position, as is Mo Broten. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see Mo Broten take the lead the next time we go over that last final straight, which we should. He might even have a little look down the front straight, as it looks like he's given Aero Nom a little bit of a push there. I thought it was interesting, Jack, just at the end of the straight that time by, I could have sworn I saw just 5 degrees of slip angle there on Dobek's car, and it just terrified me, but he managed to collect it and carry on without incident.
Yeah, brilliant job. Really, really sideways on the way through, but this will be the final lap of the race as we come across the start-finish line next time. David Bum is in the lead. Aero Nom is behind him. Pete Moberton in 3rd. Michael Dobek 4th. Arabian 5th. Race in 6th and Naselli in 7th. They can all potentially win it as they come round the last corner. Barney, the flagman's got the white flag in the air for this race at SRF Weekend Warriors at Watkins Glen as they come across the line. There's the white flag, and we will see now who is going to win here at Watkins Glen. David Bum at the head of the field right now, but you do not want to be there as they come round the first corner, bobbling away over the curbs. Up the hill they come. Aero Nom building a small gap over Moberton now as they come up the hill, but now he'll get dragged back up to the rear of him as they come over the curbs. It's getting really close up the front right now. How is this going to end? Down the straight now. Aero Nom, will he go for the lead on this lap? This time he moves to the outside line. Who's going to go with him? Florence Arabian tries to go with him. Moberton's going to go with him. He's going to go 3 abreast down the straight. 4 abreast. Michael Dobek up the inside of all of them. Makes it 4 wide down the straight as they come down into the brake zone for the right-hander. Arabian still 4 abreast into the braking zone. This is sensational racing as they come round the right-hander. Still 4 wide on the way out of the boot into the boot section now. They go now back to 2 wide. Aero Nom on the inside. Dobek on the outside line. Drifts out wide. Aero Nom slots to the lead with just a few corners to go. Sensational here at SRF Weekend Warriors. Dobek now was side by side with Moberton. Into the toe they go for the last time. It's still Aero Nom with the advantage. I think he might just have enough here. In hand has got Aero Nom. Dobek side by side with Moberton as they come up to the toe for the last time. Last lap here at Watkins Glen has provided immense action as they come into the braking zone. Still side by side with Moberton and Dobek behind. Still 2 by 2 as they come round the right-hander. Up the hill they come for the final time. Moberton slots to 2nd. Arabia up the inside of Dobek as they enter into the left-hander now. Side by side they go. David Bum looking for any kind of room as well as they enter the last 2 corners. That might be one of the greatest moments in SRF Weekend Warriors and one of the greatest recovery drives in the series as well. He was in the wall on lap 2 and he recovers round the last corner. Aero Nom, sensational. He wins at Watkins Glen here in SRF Weekend Warriors. Once again, Pete Overton is second, Arabian third, Dobek, Bum, Antonio Reyes will win in the Masters category, and Simon Meyer in 8th. 4 wide down the straight, through the corner, and Aero Nom recovers to win. That is amazing.
Absolutely unbelievable. Looking here at Mino's car, he will finish in 12th overall in the number 77 machine, followed closely behind by Kern, who I believe is going to take your second place in the Masters. Kern in the 916 machine. Third in the Masters will be Gradwell. There he is in the 909 machine. And he's got Gibson for company as he crosses the finish line. Well done to those drivers. I believe we should start seeing cars smashing into one another. There is Bobby West's car. Speaking of smashing into one another, an unfortunate race today for Bobby West. But he, of course, manages to get the number 89 machine around the track for the final time. What a series of... It's just always like this, isn't it, Jack? And there is Stevie Ray. He's just about to finish his race. Stevie Ray series organizer in the 911 machine. There he goes, RaceVoice livery. I do apologize, viewers. We did not show you the series standings, and that is my fault. I forgot about it. I was so excited to be back on the broadcast. I was just talking to Jack and having a ball. And but anyway, they are out there, and thank you so much to Ryan Sorrell for setting those up for us. I believe we might be looking at them now. And we'll look at them just really fast before we get to the race results, if you don't mind. Okay, so I believe we're looking here at Spec 1. I am told. I'm just looking for it myself. So Spec 1 led by Aero Nom, whom we saw win again today. He will, no question, hang on to that. Followed by David Bowman, Florence Arabian in the top 3 positions. In Spec 2, it is Simon Mayer leading the championship, followed by Ian Malone and J.W. Miller in 2nd and 3rd. And in Masters standings, it is Tom Gradwell, followed by Kenneth Batley and Chris Murakami. So it'll be interesting to see what today's results do to that. I apologize for the abbreviated view at the standings. That is my fault. Feel free to let everyone know how annoyed you are with me. So here we are in the runoff at turn 1. I just saw Murakami's machine smashing into folks, and there are your results from today. You just saw it happen, and if you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, you would hardly believe it, as Aero Nom takes the win today after a brutal crash early on in the race. Nom followed by Mo Broughton. Great race today from these guys in Florence Arabian in P3. He's followed by Michael Dobek, David Bohm. Antonio Reyes will finish 6th overall and will take the win in the Masters standings, followed by Maurizio Naselli, 7th overall, and Mayer, Simon Mayer, will take the win in Spec 2. Well done to Mayer. That sneaky Andres Bertoni has got himself up to 9th overall. Let's see how many places gained. He finished with 37 places gained over the course of the race today. Did Bertoni, our biggest, hardest charger, I guess. That unofficial hardest charger. Flavio Andalo in 10th overall, followed by Marco Pinero, Jonathan Mino, Bob Kern, Miro Hraski, Yingxi Lin, Tom Gradwell, Ian Gibson, Steven Elson down in 18th place. Great race, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. There's Justin Huffman there in 19th overall, followed by Bobby West, Edgar Sancinelli, Ed Doherty, Yost Simpkins, Ken Batley, Mike Lucas, Stevie Ray, Jeff Jacobson, and John Payne in 28th. Going on down from John Payne, it's Adam Bradshaw, Jamie McGinnis, Michael G. Nelson, Paul Jackson, Rolly Wallbank, Chris Murakami, Gary Walbolt, Alex Ruggenbuck, Jim McGill, Darren Kuhn, Judy Castro finishing surprisingly far back in 39th overall, followed by Ian Malone, Sir, Christopher Smith, Hugh Haycox, Ian Haycox. The two Haycoxes finishing a place apart from one another. John Vogel, Jeff Pritchard, Felipe Santos, Charlie Rogers, and Mark Gehan, dead last. So there it was, Jack. It was so great to be back with you. Let's see if anybody would like to stop in and have a chat with us. I certainly hope they will. Plenty of excitement today to talk about, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, first of all, I'm going to drag in our race winner, first of all, who is standing by Aero Nom, joins us in the commentary box. Aero, what a race to end up in the wall, to recover then to take the win. That you must be pleased with that.
Oh yeah, that was so crazy. I'm so sorry everybody for crashing there. Yeah, it was so dumb of me to spin there, but yeah, what a recovery.
Yeah, what a race at the end, ending up 4 wide down the straight. Obviously, the racing standards are so high here, but that must have been pretty scary, with going 4 wide on the last lap.
Yeah, I was thinking there is no way. I just can't feel cars outside and my wheel. I was just trying to stay straight and not turn anybody. And yeah, then I saw the line I can take outside and block the next corner. So yeah, I was so shaking after that because I knew I would win.
Brilliant. Of course, with that win as well, you extend the lead even more at the top of the championship. So you must be feeling pretty confident now that you've got you're on course to take this title.
Yeah, it's pretty good now. I think I just have to show up for the last races and do well, I guess.
Well, at least you know what you got to do, Aero. Before we let you go and celebrate your great recovery, is there anyone you'd like to say a quick thank you to?
Yeah, I want to go to drivers there at the end. It was incredible, so close and pretty clean. I have to say, totally great, totally, yeah. Everybody did a good job there, and I could thank the lead admins and you guys in the bot.
Thank you very much, Aero. Aero, congratulations on your fabulous victory, and we'll chat to you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
So that was Aero Nom, and surprise! I think that's actually the most excited I've heard him, Jim. You could hear it. You could hear it. Of course, anyone kind of Finland, Estonian, not too known for showing emotion, but that's the most excitable you'll ever hear Aero Nom after a victory, to be sure.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. But thank him, of course, for stopping by. And we probably have time for 1 or 2 more. I do want to talk to Mayer. I'm just going to drag him in here. Simon Mayer, congratulations on your win today in the spec. There we're just looking at you in your number 3 machine. So tell us how your race developed today.
Yeah, hi guys. Nice to have you back. I can breathe now, finally. It was a bit of a hectic race. Just glad to get through it, to be honest with you. Had a few hairy moments, but good result at the end of it.
Yeah, there were definitely some hairy moments. It was great to see you challenging up there, though. You know, you're looking pretty racy overall. We're looking at you right now, hanging onto the back of Antonio Race's car on the lead group in the replay. So, pretty great race, as you say. Some hairy moments.
Yeah, the start of the race, I was just trying to hang on to the lead group and trying to shake the guys behind us, which we kind of did once, and then they got back onto us. And then there was a crash on, I think, lap 4 or 5. I can't quite remember. Quite early on. And
yeah,
that took me off the top of the field. So I was struggling for pace from then on.
Yeah, well, it will certainly happen. Just wanted to drag you in quickly to say congratulations on your win in the Spec 2 anyway, and you're always pretty racy in Spec 2, so no surprise to see you at the top step of the podium on that one. But thank you for taking the time. Anything further you'd like to add?
Yeah, thanks to the whole Weekend Warriors, everyone who organises it, all the work that goes on behind the scenes. So thanks to you guys for the broadcast.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you out there next week and weeks going forward. And viewer, we're looking forward to seeing you back with us again next week and weeks going forward. It is like this every week. It is an absolute ball every single time. I'd like to thank Jack Kanan for being with me on commentary, and of course Johnny Grabs in the production booth. And thanks of course to you for joining us. As I say, do join us next time. We can't wait to see you then. This has been SRF Weekend Warriors presented by RaceVoice, live on Apex Racing TV.